Testing, 1, 2, and 3. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Mike Rock Uncensored. We are officially live on X, YouTube, and Facebook, and I am glad to be getting my podcast off the ground the way that I finally wanted to. We're not in a position just yet to be able to promote it as much as I want to, but I believe in what we're doing. I believe we have something good here, and I believe that the more we can get done, the more we will be able to do in the near future. For just an update on my situation, I am officially trucking now, and I've been in orientation with my new company for the past 3 days. I have one more day to go, but we weren't doing anything for the weekend, so I was allowed to come back home, spend some extra time with my kids before I go out again Monday morning, and then I'll be gone for about 3 weeks. What we are going to try to do, which is new to me, is we are going to try to start podcasting and doing video recordings while I am out there in the world, while I'm doing my trucking stuff and any kind of new journeys and adventures that we've got going on. I haven't done it before. I've done little videos, but not to the point to where I'm having live streams and everything else while from my phone or from my camera. So we're going to try to get those things done while I'm away from you for 3 weeks. And then once that's over with, once I get my truck with my new company and I'm able to come home, we're going to set up both my truck and my house, my home, to have a studio in both. So that way, no matter whether I'm here or whether I'm there in my free time, we will be talking about issues and we will be doing what I came here to do, which is to bring people together. There's a lot of nonsense in the world. I lean right, and right now I stand with the right. But for me, right is more about right, not so much right versus left, but right versus wrong. And I really believe that there's a lot of wrong coming from the left, but there's also some wrong coming from the right. And we need to be able to sit down and have these conversations, because I will tell you, if you really think the government is coming to save you, if you really believe that the answer is in the people who are hiding things from us, who refuse to be as transparent as they say they are, I don't care which side it comes from. If you feel like it's okay to keep information from the people, the problem isn't with the people, the problem is with our government. So whether you're right or you're left, we need to be talking more. We need to be fighting less. And unfortunately, I will admit, part of the reason why I stand with the right is because there are way too many people on the left who are absolutely batshit crazy. That doesn't mean all of them. I'm saying there is enough of them. When you know you've got people on your side who are willing to come, or excuse me, are willing to unalive other people in order to make a political statement, or in order to say, stop talking about me, you have a batshit crazy problem on your side of the fence. And it wouldn't be so bad. You want to say, well, let's not respond to violence with violence. Well, you have an option. That option is to get your side under control. If you don't want other people or the government policing the problems that your side is creating, and I say your side because I don't believe it's everybody. I don't want to believe it's everybody. It's those extremists. It's those crazy people. And we should all be on the same side when it comes to dealing with crazy, period. And if you're trying to make a point, if you're trying to sit up here and justify why someone like Charlie Kirk was killed, or justify why it's okay for apparently somebody today tried to sneak in, or I don't know if it was today, but tried to sneak into the Charlie Kirk memorial with guns, tried to impersonate a police officer and sneak into that event with guns. Whatever the intention was, if you think that that kind of stuff is okay, or that you should justify why people are angry enough to do something like that, then you, my friend, are part of the problem. I don't care if it's left, right. Killing someone for their personal beliefs, for their opinions, it's not right. And if you don't want to treat it as a completely separate issue, then don't get mad when decisions are made to fix the entire problem because you choose to be a part of it, whether you were holding the gun or not. It's like I said, I understand. I do believe that we have to find a place where we can compromise, but I also don't believe that there's a such thing as compromising with crazy. And I think it's we are past the point to where we are trying to justify crazy, or to understand crazy, or to allow crazy to continue to grow, because that's what's going on with a lot of these groups. And I don't have a problem saying the names of the groups and everything else. I just don't. We know a lot of the problems are coming from the trans community and people who are jumping out saying, trying to defend what's going on with the Charlie Kirk situation by saying that wasn't a left issue. Yes, it was. Stop trying to deny it. Take responsibility, take accountability for what's really going on. Because I would be, if it was somebody I knew was a right-wing extremist that was really causing these problems, I would want it to stop. I don't care which side of the fence you are on. Violence is never the answer. At least not when it comes to being aggressive, or being the person, or being the aggressor. If you're defending yourself, that's a completely different story, and that's where we're getting to that point. We're getting to the point to where these left-wing extremists are trying to create civil war because they know there's only so much pushing they can do before the other side decides it's time to defend ourselves, and that's how civil war gets started. I don't want that. I know a lot of you moderates, most of the people in the world do not want that, but it only takes the crazy from a few. So you want to continue to have your own opinions, and to be able to share your own thoughts, regardless of what those thoughts are, and regardless of whether I agree with them or not. We should be willing to set aside our differences and come together and say the craziness needs to go. We may have had our issues, but let's not only solve the current problem, but let's fix what's causing the problem in the first place. And whether you want to admit it or not, let's, you can't, I'm sorry, you can't call someone, there's only so many times you can call someone a Nazi, or call someone a white supremacist, or label someone an enemy of this entire country before people start to listen and people start to accept it as truth. We know Donald Trump isn't a Nazi, but in order to defend your progressive movements and your woke agendas, it's easier to get people to believe that he is a Nazi or a white supremacist, so that we can forget about the craziness inside of these woke agendas that we are trying to deal with first. You can't debate the issue, so you want to attack and assassinate the character so that people refuse to listen. But the problem that you have is that we're past that point. There's already enough people who are speaking out and saying, no, Donald Trump wasn't wrong. And no, you can't convince me that Charlie Kirk was a bad person. He was one of the few that was actually trying to have conversations with the side he didn't agree with. He didn't assassinate anyone's character. And regardless of what you guys want to believe, I've had to say it over and over again. Charlie Kirk was not a racist individual. He was not attacking black people. He loved everybody. He was trying to make a point that skin color and skin tone shouldn't be the reason for anything. DEI doesn't need to exist. If you want the job, that if you want a certain job, you should be willing to go out there and earn it, regardless of what that job is. And if you don't want to get out there and earn it, then don't complain about the job you have to accept, or don't complain about your living situation and try to blame it on other people. That's what he was fighting for. And the only people, honestly, the only people I see mad at at what Charlie Kirk was fighting against are the people who stood for those agendas and those movements that he was basically speaking out against. Those are the only people. You got the black communities. They're upset when all he's basically saying is that nobody should benefit from DEI programs. But unfortunately, I guess since the black community was benefiting the most, as far as I know, they want to get upset and call this man a racist, because it's easier to accept that he's a racist than to accept the fact that you have problems in your own home that need to get fixed. It's easier that way because the government has allowed you to victimize yourself. I've been away since Wednesday, man, and I can't believe that we still are in a place to where civil war is a possibility. I can't believe we're in a place where people can see, absolutely see, without a shadow of a doubt, all the wrong that is going on in this world, and you want to continue to defend it because you're afraid to finally say, my side is responsible for this, and I just want to get it fixed. I'm not saying I changed my mind about what I believe politically. I'm saying that the craziness needs to go. And we start doing things like that by simply removing the rhetoric. I'm not saying removing free speech. I don't even agree with what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like the stupid things that he says. I believe that he's just a left-wing pundit. I do believe that. But I listened to the joke that he said about Donald Trump, Trump against Charlie Kirk. I didn't like that either. It was a bad joke. It was a bad timing on the joke. But if the man is going to lose his job, it shouldn't be because the government stepped in and said he needs to lose his job. I believe that we have the type of economy where if enough people believe that he shouldn't have his job, then all they got to do is stop watching his show and let the money speak louder than your words. Stop supporting the show. The people should be in charge by what we buy, by what we support. And let us decide, let our wallets decide who needs to stick around and who doesn't. Because in all honesty, you may not like this, and I say this all the time, but one of the perfect examples is the WNBA. You're trying to keep something around that nobody is watching. You're losing millions of dollars every year. The NBA is losing millions of dollars every year to subsidize the WNBA. And for whatever reason, we all know this, but the women in the WNBA still feel like we should get paid what we're owed. If you were paid what you were owed, then you wouldn't get a dime because your company, your sport, isn't making a single dime. Period. If the NBA wants to support the WNBA, I'm all for it. But things need to happen where eventually you can afford to pay for yourself. You can't force people to sit in those seats by trying to be a feminist and saying you need to come and watch this just because. If you don't come and watch this, it's because you hate women. You can't do those things. If it's not entertaining, if people don't want to watch it, they're not going to pay. They may act like they support it, but they're not going to come out the pocket to support it, and eventually you're going to go out of business because you're just not able to pay your bills. That's just the way money works. But I don't know, man. If you're listening right now, is there something that I'm missing that is keeping us from getting back to a place where common sense is real, where common sense takes priority over the craziness in the world. And I just I came here to talk to you guys because I was playing video games. I was over on my other channel playing video games, and I just this has been weighing heavy on my heart about these things because yes, I mean, it doesn't matter what I believe. I do believe everybody should be able to speak their minds, and if you want to join in on a conversation with me, because you think I'm wrong about a particular thing, then let's have that discussion. I'm the easiest person to have a debate with because number one, I try to listen, but number two, I'm nobody's expert. You might be able to get me on a few things where I have to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. I gotta go and do my homework and do my research. But the thing with me is that I'm very consistent. And I believe that's what we need. We need common sense and we need consistency. The thing about these arguments coming from the left is that there is no common sense. And when there's no common sense, there's also no consistency because they're trying to speak truths that don't exist. And when you call them out on their truths and say, hey, this cannot be true because it is not consistent, it is not factually based, and it's not consistent, meaning that just because you're trying to apply it to one thing does not mean that it simply does not apply to another thing, which means that it just cannot work. It cannot be true. Come back to me when it does work. No, men should not be able to participate in women's sports. I'll show you where the inconsistency lies in that. If and everybody says it, but are you really listening to it? You want to ignore it because it doesn't support your narrative. If LeBron James decided to become a woman, and I'll say it in a way that somebody else said it earlier. To me, it was hilarious. If LeBron James decided to become a woman, he could probably play the sport for another 10 to 20 years, dominate the women's division, and become the greatest player in WNBA history because he will never be as good as Michael Jordan. That was a regular NBA joke, in case you didn't get it. But the truth is still there. But and then when you flip it, the same is true in reverse. I'm willing to bet money that you could take the best women's player in the WNBA player, and she probably couldn't even hang in college basketball today. I would even argue that there's probably some high school players out there that would probably dominate in the WNBA. It just doesn't work. You can't try to say that there is an equal playing field when you put men in women's sport. And the argument I'm making has nothing to do with me, what my opinions about how I feel about the transgender community. We are only speaking on factual information. So why can't we come to common ground when it comes to that? You want to believe that a man can become a woman? That's on you. I don't care as long as it doesn't violate my personal freedoms. It doesn't violate my faith in God. And it's not your place to tell me what my faith in God should look like. It's not your place. If I'm being a bad Christian, that is a conversation that I need to have with God, not with you. I don't tell you how to be transgender. I don't tell you how to be gay. I don't tell you how to be a Democrat. I don't tell you how to do any of those things because at the end of the day, as long as they don't violate my personal freedoms, my freedom of speech, my freedom to raise my kids as a single father, whatever those freedoms are, as long as what you do doesn't step inside of my circle, I don't care what you do. And I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. Why is that so hard to understand? I personally, when the Pride movement first started, I do just like with any movement. When they first started, there was some merit to what they were trying to accomplish. They were fighting against discrimination. Black communities back in the day were fighting against slavery. They don't exist anymore. The only people keeping racism alive are the people that want you to believe it still exists. It I'm not saying that there isn't racism, period. There's just it there aren't as many racist people in the world as that you're trying to make them out to believe. There aren't as many white supremacists out there as you want us to believe. They exist, but not like you're trying to make them exist. Not the kind that would allow you would justify why you are victimizing yourself and blaming everybody else for the problems you've created. It isn't racism that is doing that to you. You are doing that to you. Looking for handouts instead of getting out there and getting a job, that is what is doing it to you. And yes, I am speaking 100% from experience. I've been on food stamps. I literally just got off of food stamps because I needed them to raise 3 kids on my own. But I never accepted cash assistance. I've always been working in one way, shape, or form. I got out there and busted my ass to do what I needed to do. And despite every last struggle that I've ever been in, I never blamed the white man for the problems that were created by me. I never blame. In fact, if there was anyone to blame for the problems that I had in my life, it came from my own community. It came from my brothers. It came from my family. It came from some of my black friends. I'm not all of them. I got some great friends in my life, but people I called friends. I'm just saying I've been done more dirty by my own than I have by any white man out there in the world. And that's just the simple truth. You got more black on black crimes in the world, and you want to sit up here and say, well, you need to stop that shit. Ain't no, it is. It's statistically true, but you don't want to accept it. Why? Because you got black celebrities trying to tell you it doesn't exist. Black celebrities that are and politicians that are profiting by telling you that things aren't what they seem, that it really is the white man's problem, that you really aren't killing your own, that the National Guard doesn't need to step in and fix the problem that has never been fixed in places like DC and Chicago. It does need to get fixed. I don't think the government needs to be involved with everything, but there comes a point in time when you have to ask yourself, what's going to get the job done better and faster? Is it going to be the government or is it going to be the people? Because if the people have to defend themselves, it's only going to get worse. And that's just the truth as well. Common sense. I will always say that. Bringing the people together and common sense. And we lack a whole lot of common sense in this world. And I just want to get back to a place to where people are doing their own homework. People give themselves credit for being smart enough. And I know, even for you crazy people out there, man, I know you guys are smart enough to where you've seen something, you said, you know what? I may not always agree with what's going on the other side, but what they said makes sense. I don't always, I support my people, my own people 100%. But why are we victimizing ourselves for the shit that we've done to ourselves? Why are we blaming other people? Why are we blaming anybody when we should be getting off of our asses and getting out there and building something better for ourselves? And it's just everybody is so full of excuses nowadays, and nobody wants to lift a finger to fix the problems that we have. You want to make suggestions. You want to sit up there. Yeah, what's bothering me so much about the left right now is that they want the problems to get fixed. They just don't want to accept accountability in order to fix them. There's got to be a better way to fix this than to say, you're right, it was our fault. They would rather go to war with the other side than to simply admit that they were wrong about a particular thing. No matter how much evidence gets put out there. Right now, I can show you a tweet right now. Let me see if I can find it. There's a tweet out there right now, breaking here. Let me go bring this over so you guys can see this. Um, Here he goes, right here. This idiot right here. I don't assassinate people's character, but I do have a habit of calling people idiots because the things that they say is idiotic. And this guy, Brian Allen, this guy is he I believe he's being paid by some left wing pundit to say the things that he's saying because what a lot of things that he says does not, it just doesn't add up. The math does not add up. Brian Allen says, breaking. Federal investigators say they found no link between Charlie Kirk shooter and any left wing groups, per NBC, which is a left wing media group. So the shooter isn't Antifa, isn't a Democrat, isn't even political, and yet millions were fed a lie that sparked national outrage. Again, they don't want to accept. And then when we look at the comment section, I know somebody said something really stupid. I don't subscribe to. That's kind of funny, and that's right here. Truth ethos. His family is MAGA. MAGA. That's all we needed to know. Okay. First of all, it was because his family were, I don't even know if they were MAGA supporters. I know they were conservatives. I believe they were Republicans, but I'm getting tired of the left wing trying to label every last conservative and Republican, or just anybody that doesn't agree with their narratives. They automatically want to label them MAGA supporters. I think you'll find that somebody like a Candace Owens or a Tucker Carlson, or they support the conservative movement, but they are, if they are nothing close to being MAGA supporters. Just because people don't agree with your narrative doesn't mean that they are what you say they are. Doesn't mean you could put a label on them and that's automatically what they are. That's not how life works, but that's the way you want it to work. And that's what you want people to believe. But anyways, it was because of where his family stood that they felt compelled to turn him in. That's what the conservatives and the Republicans do. They take accountability for their actions. He was our son, but he was radicalized. He had a trans. You guys want to act like this shouldn't matter, but it does. He had a transgender lover, roommate, whatever you want to call them. And I don't know what's going on with these text messages that were put out, but at the end of the day, his entire family came out and said that he hated Trump, that he was to become more and more radicalized in the things that he was doing. And the only evidence that the left wing has to support the fact that he was a Republican was because his family was Republican. I mean, come on. If we're going to be consistent, if someone said that they were a man who believed he was a woman, does that mean his entire family are men who believe that they are women? No, you cannot. Why are you trying to make that argument? It's because you don't have an argument. And what happens when you don't have an argument or you can't debate the facts is you start to make up lies. And then when the people come forward to prove that you're lying, the only thing left for you to do is to assassinate their character. I'm going to turn him into a Nazi. I'm going to turn her into a white supremacist. I'm going to make you not want to listen to them by vilifying them for things that they've never said or done. That's the problem that we have with the left-wing narratives right now. If if you believed in whatever you believed, but you weren't out to make the other side look crazy or to look like the enemy in order to support your beliefs, you are free to believe whatever you want. Just don't get my child involved. I mean, the who is it? The Mormons. I don't subscribe to their faith. I don't have a problem with them. They have their circles, I have mine. They have their faith. I don't subscribe to their faith. I don't believe it, but I don't have a problem with the Mormon church. I don't have a problem with the Muslim religion. Now, there's some radicals on that side that are doing some really crazy things. The crazy needs to get dealt with. Crazy needs to be labeled what it is, crazy. And that crazy needs to get dealt with. But it's not the religion's fault itself for why people choose to take it out of context and then become crazy as a result. That's not the religion's fault. Those are the crazies within that group. Unfortunately, though, however, when we flip that and we look at what's going on the left, it is the left-wing politics, the woke propaganda that is creating crazy people. Again, if all you ever hear about someone is that they're a felon, they're a rapist, they're a Nazi, and you're the person that created that for them, the things that he's supposedly guilty of, you're the ones that created that put those labels on him, that weaponized the DOJ, and he still became president. You should, instead of saying, how do we have a felon as a president, you should ask yourself, how wrong are we? How evil of a people are we to where they would choose to have a felon in office than someone from our own party? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Period. Just like with all of these people that are mad because we now have Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, or because people chose to celebrate and honor someone who stuck by their values, who was consistent in their faith, who was a good person trying to do a good thing, whether you agreed with him or not. You are mad because we want to celebrate and honor this person, and then also mad because we don't want to celebrate a criminal or a drug addict. Come on, man. You guys need some better heroes. You had some better heroes, and you were convinced that you needed to celebrate people who, like, I'm not laughing at this. I'm laughing at the people who choose to do this. You want to celebrate someone who chose to rob a pregnant woman and then pistol whip her in the stomach. Those are the type of people that you want to worship. You want to glorify the Black Lives Matter because it says Black Lives Matter, but you want to ignore the fact that they were stealing millions of dollars. What was it, $82 million that they can't account for, that they could have used for the Black communities, they could have used to support their own, but they didn't, and you're not mad at them at all? They gave more money to the trans movement than they did to their own communities, and you're not mad at that at all? Whew. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. But honestly, man, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you can take it for what it is. You can call me a sellout and Uncle Tom. Oh, you're not dark enough, so you don't have it in you to understand. Yes, I do. And again, it's not for you to tell me what I believe, where my faith should be. It's not up to you to tell me how dark my skin needs to be in order to relate to the Black community. That's I don't care. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you believe that or not. I just don't care, man. What I do care about, however, is that all of us are being duped. I was 100%, I'm still being duped, but I was 100% duped when I chose to just trust the things that my political leaders were telling me, when I was choosing to trust what my teachers were telling me in school that had nothing to do with schoolwork, until I started to do my own homework, until I started trusting my instincts that were telling me that something is not right. That makes no sense. I invite you guys, I am challenging the left side and even people on the right. You know how they keep talking bad about Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson? Have you ever asked yourself why all of a sudden all of these groups are talking bad about Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson? It's because they speak their own mind. Candace Owens doesn't take money from donors. She'll tell you herself. She says it in almost every video that I've been watching recently. She doesn't take money from donors because she doesn't want them to own her voice. She wants to do her own investigations, share her own research with the rest of the people, and to allow you to make up your own mind about everything that's going on. I don't believe, and I invite him to a conversation about this sometime, but I'm sure that I need to get bigger in my following in order for us to have this conversation. But I used to really like listening to Brandon Tatum. But the more I listen to him, the more I feel like he has become a sellout. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that's his own words are making me feel that way. He used to be really good friends, or he used to talk very highly of Candace Owens, and he's not trying to create any problems in that direction, but he has also spaced himself, he has distanced himself away from Candace Owens because she's not afraid to speak out on what she feels is wrong with with Israel, and he doesn't want any part of that. Even though what she's saying makes sense, even though it deserves investigating, even though he instead of he won't debate her on those facts, he'll just speak on the side now and tell you that people who are speaking out against Israel are wrong. But when I started hearing all this again, I am, I guess you could call me a nationalist. I agree that we need to be taking care of our own before we take care of anyone else. That doesn't mean we can't help other countries and other people in the world. But how do you take care of other people better than you are taking care of your own? That's my argument there. But when it comes to Israel, some of the things that, number one, this is a problem as a Christian man, which is what somebody like a Brandon Tatum claims that he is. Just from a Christian standpoint, the Israel faith, the faith, what is it, Judaism? They do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Now, I'm not mad at them for what they believe, but how can you sit there and support them 100% when you don't even really share the same faith? They can say he exists, but how do you put them first when America stands on more of a Christian foundation, but you'd rather support every last thing that they say and say that Israel is God's people? Even Jesus had a problem with the fake Israel individuals. And I don't, and it's not my place to tell you which Israel people are fake and which ones are real. But I would think that the best place to start would be with the people in Israel who don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God. Maybe we can start there. If you're not for me, then you're against me. And so I'm just throwing that out there, that as a Christian, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm just saying, how do you speak out and say that Allah is not the same God as me, and I can't support that because we can't share the same faith, but you want to turn around and support the Israel community 100%? I've got nothing against Israel. I'm not speaking out against Israel. I'm just making a point because there are a lot of things that I don't agree with. I don't know whether they're on the side of good or evil. I really don't know. And the reason why I don't know is because I don't think we're being given all of the information. When you decide to cancel someone because they say that genocide is not a good thing, that under no circumstance should any one power, any one country decide that it's okay to bring about genocide to an entire race, to an entire people. When you say that that's wrong, and then they want to cancel you as a result, there's something wrong with that. There's so many things that I need to process, and I want to be able to share in real conversations with you guys. And I know it's going to take time for us to get to a point to where more people are watching, more people are sharing their opinions. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have supported me because I do stand strong in my conservative values, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to at the very least, I'm not afraid to question some things that are suspect. And when you decide to try to give me answers, if I don't agree with those answers, I'm not afraid to tell you that this deserves a better conversation and it deserves more information than what you're giving me. When you get to a point to where you refuse, excuse me, sorry, that shows you how excited, how energetic, how much, how you could, that just explains my emotions about how I feel about certain things. I'm genuine in the things that I say, but my point is that if you truly believe in what you say and you have facts and consistency to back all of that up, then when people want to have these conversations, you should be willing to have those conversations. Or at the very least, you shouldn't be offended when people, for one reason or another, can prove you wrong or can at least show you evidence to why you might be wrong about a particular thing. We can't grow as a people. We can't grow as a race, as a human race, when we aren't willing to question the obvious. When you're calling someone evil or inherently bad because they can't stand with your motives or with your narratives 100%. How about it's okay not to agree with me? How about it's okay, hey, we wish you the best, but we just can't support that particular thing. It's not for us. But I hear all of these, you know, I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. I do believe so. When the left wing pundits were more in charge, when we had the Democrats in power, you heard the right complaining about censorship and canceling people, but I'm going to tell you, we've got the new side in power, we've got the right in power, and it kind of feels like the same thing. I I will admit that I don't know how we fix the problem that has existed. I don't think we let it. Excuse me. It we can't follow the same formula where we just deny that the problem exists, and then by the time we show evidence that it did exist, you basically want to say that it's irrelevant at this point and let's move on. We can't do that. In order to fix problems, we need to recognize that they exist or that they existed and then take measures to make sure that it doesn't happen again from either side. So there's still a lot of wrongdoing and a lot of consequences that we need to address when it comes to the things that the left wing party did. But I don't think it's okay to repeat their mistakes by saying that, well, since you censored us, we should be able to censor you. Since you were in control of the media, it's our turn to be in control of the media. No, the DOJ was weaponized. Let's get all of those people in office. Let's have them address their wrongdoings. If they need to go to prison and everything else, then they need to go to prison. But we just don't pick up the mantle and continue where they left off. We don't destroy their version of the deep state just to turn around and create our own. We fought for freedom of speech. We can't let our own side now decide it's okay to censor free speech. It's okay to get rid of people that we don't agree with. That's not okay. Period. That doesn't, I don't, you can get mad at me all you want to and say, oh, this is MAGA for life, bitches, and all that other. I don't care, man. I really don't. But that's the difference between me and people who are just basically supporting a side. Common sense is common sense. Logic is logic. The math needs to add up. And when it doesn't, I'm not afraid to question or to try to ask for more information for why it doesn't add up. I 100, I don't know. For instance, I can't sit up here and say that Candace Owens is right about absolutely everything. I can't. But out of everybody I have ever listened to, I have more respect for a Candace Owens than anybody else out there because she is not afraid to speak her truth. I don't know. I do not know if Bridget Macron, for instance, is a man, but she spoke her truth. She gave you all of the information and told you why she believed that Bridget McCrone was a man. If it turns out that she was wrong, then guess what? It was based on the information that she received, not because she chose to get out there and lie to everybody about a particular thing. She doesn't blindly follow anybody for any reason. And that's the reason why you have these other groups from both the left and the right who want to speak out against her. It isn't because she's wrong, it's because she's choosing not to take a side. She just wants the answers. So when you hear people speaking out against a person like Candace Owens, you owe it to yourself if you want the truth. If you just want to be a follower, you want to be sheep the rest of your life, that's on you too. But if you want real answers, when you have an entire group telling you that this person is bad, you should probably go listen to them for yourself to figure out why they are so bad. If Candace Owens ever hears this, man, I want her to know that I have nothing but love and respect for what she is doing. And I hope she keeps it up. We need more people, not less people, like a Candace Owens. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, I don't care what you are. We need more people that are willing to step up and speak their truth. Just remember, though, in order for you to even try to convince us that you are speaking your truth, it has to be based on common sense. You should be willing to have factual information to back up what you're saying, or at least you have to be willing to do the math. And when you give us the math has to be consistent. It has to be right, and it has to be consistent. And if you're not willing to do those things, maybe you don't need a platform. Maybe we don't need to listen to you to assassinating someone else's character simply because you can't debate the facts, simply because you don't have a real answer for why they just proved you wrong. It, I, I am not a rocket scientist. I am not a politician. I am not an expert in anything. I have a high school diploma. I have taken college courses. I have educated myself on a lot of different things that I was interested in, and I have experience as both a man and as a father. Those are my only qualifications. I won't pretend to be something more than I'm not. But I also will not allow someone who is a professional in their field tell me that I don't have the right to speak on something that they think they're an expert or professional in simply because they went to school for that particular thing. Maybe you didn't learn what you were supposed to learn. Maybe you should have applied your instincts to the things that they were teaching you. Maybe you need to ask yourself, did they actually waste did you actually waste your money on an education that's going to turn out to mean absolutely shit in the end? Just putting it out there. Anyways, man, I have to get some rest. I got one more day to spend with my kids. I'm going to ask you one thing. I am going to start doing podcasts on individual topics. You are more than welcome to join me in those conversations. Help me to make sense when things don't make sense. Tell me why you think I'm wrong, or just support the information that I'm putting out there for you to listen to. It isn't so much about any particular event that I want people to pay attention to, more than the fact that when you put it all together, I really just want us to be able to come together more as a people, to embrace our differences, to at least respect our differences. And I know that people have said that this is a bad thing, but we need to learn how to stay in our own lane. We really, really do. If it doesn't pertain to me, if it doesn't impact me, then why do I care what you want to do for yourself? Why do I care what makes you happy as long as it isn't damaging other people? That's what it comes down to. You want to be whatever you are, then I celebrate you as long as you aren't damaging what someone else believes in the process. Anyways, I'm out of here. Feel free to like, follow, and share this video. Tell people about this community that We are some people that are trying to get to the bottom of real life information, trying to help people live better lives, have debates and discussions that are actually healthy for all of us and that are designed to bring us together. I invite you to keep sticking around for conversations just like that, videos just like that. But I'm going to be going away for a little bit. My videos are going to be that I make and that I put out there. They may or may not be live, but they're going to be coming from different locations because I start trucking this coming week, and I'm going to be going out with a trainer for 3 weeks. So I don't know how much free time I'm actually going to have to be able to share with you. But if you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on with me and Mike and this community, join me over at patreon.com/Mike Rock. We've got forums over there that you can share information with. And when we get back on track on a regular schedule, we're going to be taking the best conversations and turning them either into podcasts or live streams so that you can join in on the conversation. But the first thing you need to do in order to get those updates, go to patreon.com/Mike Rock. I like a Miss Candace Owens and like a Tucker Carlson. I will not allow, and I don't know about Tucker Carlson on this, but I will not allow donors to control my voice, to buy my voice, or to ever buy my platform. I would rather leave this space than to lie to you and tell you things that I don't believe in. I'm Mike Rockman. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy football tomorrow if you're going to watch it. And we will talk to you guys again as soon as possible. Have a great night. Peace.